Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 20 of What If Naruto was sent to the Marvel world. Remember to get this one to 200 like as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also guys, stay in tune for What If Naruto's a badass genius and enjoy that. And over on Anime King 2, I'm going to be posting What If Naruto was a smart prodigy, and I'm also going to be posting a new episode of What If Aizuna Uchiha was Naruto's ancestor. So stay in tune for those, and I hope you guys enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So without further ado, let's begin this new episode. Start the intro.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their
So the last part we left off, Naruto and Trish came back, as Jessica wanted Naruto's help, as he was the one that signed her up for the mission when she was unconscious after all, as Trish asked if she could talk to her in the bedroom. As Trish asked what is her motive, she always has something planning, and she wanted to know what it is. As Jessica says she didn't have a motive, but Trish says that she was lying. But Jessica simply blew her off. As she came back outside, she then saw smoke coming from Naruto, but she shrugged it off. As the both of them headed off, they went into an alley as she grabbed him. She then asked him what is he doing. As she researched his name, and she saw who he was. He was a missing hero that helped when they were facing off against all those aliens. As Naruto said yes, that's him, but he's not really up to anything. Out of being tricked and not realizing, she punched him, but he poofed away. As she realized that it was really a clone. As another clone then appeared and told her if she destroyed him, she will not be getting another one. Meanwhile, the real Naruto went to Kamakage as he saw Ileana and Doctor Strange as the both of them were fighting. The match was ended as Naruto was brought to the Ancient One. When he got there, she was sitting down drinking tea as usual as Naruto told her that he came close to death, well, face to face with her. And she told him that she has a lot of entities all around, even one at his heart. As the Ancient One said she didn't know anything about that. As Naruto said his goodbyes and left, as she was shaking and she couldn't even pick up the tea, as she couldn't believe what she just heard. Meanwhile, another clone of Naruto was contacted by Nick Fury, as Naruto knew that he wasn't dead, as Nick was talking about all this righteous man and all that, saying that Naruto will be that one, as he gave Naruto a hard drive with all of S.H.I.E.L.D. file on it. And with that he left. The clone then came back to the original that was chilling at Ileana's place, as the clone then said that he got destroyed, one of his clones, at the African regions, at Wakanda, by people in strange armors, as his kunai was unable to cut through it. As that sounded interesting to him, Naruto get the hard drive as Ileana went to take a bath. As he placed it in the computer, he saw all type of S.H.I.E.L.D. information who they have been studying. As Naruto saw Ileana, a woman named Wanda, his file and all that, a speed guide, a lot of things he saw. As Naruto saw Bruce Banner cousin, as it was shocking. She got in an accident and Bruce transferred over his blood, turned her into a hulky form of him, but she wasn't that hulky. As Naruto remembered that he slept with that girl. So yeah guys, that was basically the last part we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So let's start this new episode. Whoa, Naruto said after a scene, She-Hulk. File. What is it? Said a voice as he turned to see Ileana standing there. As she was wearing a pair of black cargo pants and a brown hoodie with a black traveling stack on her back. It's nothing, Naruto said. Well, not nothing. Just something I really need to handle soon. Ileana shrugged. So, what did you find in Wakanda? There aren't any files on it. But there isn't anything we cannot find out, the little reconnaissance, Naruto said. As he got up, think you can handle it? She pointed her hand in front of her as a disc of light formed as she took a step forward. Are you coming? She asked. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Have you been to Wakanda? Ever heard of Google? She asked. Oh, Naruto said, as he followed her. Meanwhile, T'Challa was with his younger sister, Shuri, as she was showing him her new designs. As a man walked into the room, he was lacking muscle and fat, as you could even see the bones showing from his body, as he was wrapped in a purple robe. That man was T'Challa. My prince, he said, as he looked at T'Challa. I assume you know that I will be accompanying you on your trip, said T'Challa. I have, and I can't thank you enough for coming along. Now Shuri can continue her work on her term. As he patted the girl on her shoulder, she is truly one of a kind, this girl. T'Challa nodded. So she liked to tell us. No, said T'Challa, wagging his finger negatively. Shuri is once in a decade, even generation, or even once in a lifetime. If your father would allow her to show her invention to the world, her name would be stand amongst the greats, like Einstein, even passing Stark in stature. I just hope I live long enough to see the day it's happened. Said T'Challa. Father would never allow the outside world to see what we're doing. He more than anyone would love to see Shuri intelligence recognized around the world. But in Wakanda, unlike America, an inventor's goal isn't fame. Yeah, it's a betterment of the people, said Shuri, as T'Challa nodded. Of course, our king is right in this. But perhaps one day Wakanda and the world overall will benefit from all of this. Perhaps, said T'Challa. As he walked past the duo, how long will you have us stay in Albala? A month at least, he said, as he followed after the prince. That should be more than enough time to get Shuri to get some work, I say. And you have heard of the encroaching group of bandits as well, the prince asked. Of course, it was something our king reminded me of several times. And you don't think it's too risky to stay so long, even though they will try something soon? Asked T'Challa. No, I don't, said T'Challa. The only reason they haven't tried anything yet because they would be eliminated by our war dogs. They are only allowed to breed so long as they know their place. Once they step foot there though, they will no longer be an issue. His smile grew wider as he looked over at the prince. And how could I be nervous when the Black Panther is our protection? The next day, General, are you alright? The general looked over to her subordinates. Yes, why do you ask? I apologize, ma'am, but you seem preoccupied. The general sighed as she turned back to the screen. I am fine. I just want to find the outsider as soon as possible so I may assist our prince. The situation is setting me on edge. That and these clothes make me feel naked. The subordinate pulled on her clothes. I understand. Even though these clothes are woolen in vibranium, it still feels uncomfortable to be outside of our armor. And T'Challa can more than handle himself. How many times must he prove that to you? His ability to take care of himself is not being brought into question. What's questionable is why those men are so close to their location. They become too comfortable. If I had my way, I would have obliterated them by now. But the council wish a bit more cautious in handling this. They fear if we intervene too soon, the world will notice. Well, in the end it doesn't matter, the subordinate said. Once they step foot on our land, they will cease to exist. Indeed, said the general. Suddenly, someone walked in. As the person bowed to the general. Speak, Ade. Ma'am, we have found the colonizer. Where is he? The general said. Take me to him. Ade walked over as she speak into her bracelet. Send me the video feed. Understood, a voice said, as a hologram shot out, showing the man sitting at a diner with a blonde-haired woman. The general focused on the video. Is this live? Yes, general, a voice said from the beads. Why do you ask? Said Ade. Because, the general said, the outsider is mocking us. As the two others looked down at the hologram, watching the outsider wave at them. Grab your weapons, the general said. This fool needs to be put in his place. Meanwhile, do you really think it's a good idea to mess with them like this? Ileana asked as she sipped on her tea. We need them to come to us, Naruto said, and we know they're watching out for us. So why not make it easier to find us? And look at them, not even try to hide that they're surveilling us, disgracefully said, as his eyes pointed at the woman standing a block away. Like the others, his clone had thought she was bald with a tattoo along her scalp. Whatever, I just want to know what the game plan is after this, said Ileana. Surely we're not going to fight in the middle of the street. I am sure we will figure something out, Naruto said. Why are you so relaxed about this kind of stuff? I don't know about you, but this is a little nerve-wracking for me, said Ileana. That's because you don't usually do this kind of stuff. After a while the nerves go away. Don't worry, my first mission I was a nervous wreck. My teammate had to save my ass after we got jumped by the people that wanted to assassinate our client. Ileana blinked. Wait, what? Yeah, my first mission outside the village. We were protecting a client from assassins. We got jumped and I froze up. But weren't you like 12 when you became a ninja? Or whatever you was? Asked Ileana. Yeah, Naruto said. Don't you think that's a little screw up? She said. You were a kid and sent to fight and kill other people. Shh, not so loud, Naruto said. Jeez. I understand now why this doesn't bother you. You were killing people since you were a kid. I didn't kill anyone until I was 16, Naruto said. You were still a kid, she said. Yeah, I guess you're right. But where I'm from, you became an adult the minute you put on that headband. Ileana sighed. Doesn't that make you sad though, knowing that you never had a childhood? The moment I was conceived, I was destined to never have a normal childhood. Naruto then paused. They're here. Naruto stood up. What do we do? She asked. We go over to them, Naruto said, like it was obvious. And what? Talk? Ileana asked. Yeah, Naruto said. Wait, what? She said. But Naruto already walked off, as Ileana got up and followed him. As they crossed the street, walking over to the four warrior women, Naruto gave a smile as he looked at them. Yo, which one of you is in charge? Though he asked the question, he already knew the answer. Out of the newcomers, the one in the center, with a golden ring around her neck. The rest of them had silver, and the way she stands, she just held authority. I am, she said. We are here to bring you in for questioning. Make this easier on you and your friend and do not resist, or we will be forced to use lethal force. Oh, and by questioning you mean, see who I am associated with. Get as much as you can from me and then kill me, right? Naruto asked. Well then, how about I get all of that out of the way? My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm not working with or for anyone. I am only here out of curiosity, so I'm not here to hurt any of you. But if you ever threaten to attack me or my friend over here again, you will regret it. As a smile then came back on his face. So, what's your name? The woman that was watching him at first stepped up. How dare you? But she was cut off by the leader. Soya, enough. Well, Naruto said, ignoring the woman now named Soya. Lowering her arms, as she raised her head and looked down on him like he was below her. My name is Okoi. I am the general of the Dora Milaje. I am here to bring you in for your curiosity, and I am not in the mood for your games. So if I have to tell you to give up one more time, I'll make you regret it, she said. Alright, Naruto said. Where do we take this then? Okoi eyed Naruto. Follow me, she said. Moments later. So, this totally doesn't feel like a trap, Ileana muttered, as they looked around the large, spacious area that they were taken to. It was away from the urban part of the city, and it was devoid of all people. Naruto reached out with his senses, but there was no one else around to ambush them. You would think so, Naruto said, but we're the only one here. Meanwhile, Okoi looked over to her subordinates. The man is mine, do not interfere, she said, as all of them nodded. I told you I didn't want to fight, Naruto said, as he saw them looking at him, and the leader, Okoi, as she stepped forward. As Naruto released a seal on his hand as a poof of smoke, and his sword appeared. As he twirled it around, can you handle the other three? I think the general wants to take me one-on-one, Naruto said. Ileana nodded as she summoned a fiery circle symbol on her left hand. I can handle them, she said, as she spoke with confidence, but Naruto could still hear the nerves on her voice. The four Wakandas reached behind themselves, pulling out a metal cylinder. As they held the object out, as Naruto saw, they turned into spears. If you can't, tell me, Naruto said. There is no shame in needing a helping hand. As Ileana nodded, I will only ask one more time. Surrender yourself to Wakanda. If you don't, I cannot guarantee your survival today, said Okoi. All we wanted to see what is going on in this country. We don't want to harm anyone, Naruto said. This fight is pointless. If that is the case, why don't you just leave? And go about your life like nothing ever happened here, said Okoi. We both know that you will never let us go like that. Something is going on in this country. And whatever it is, you're willing to kill for it, Naruto said. As he then smiled. You really think you can dangle something like that in my face and not expect me to know what's going on? Enough thought then, Okoi said. As she dashed towards him. She jumped in the air as she thrust her spear downwards, towards his face. Naruto quickly rolled out of the way, as he was forced to get on his feet as she drove it down to pierce through his kneecap. As she then started to jab at him, but Naruto used his own sword blocking each and every attack. As the both of them were caught in a pushed off strength, but Naruto was much stronger as he pushed her back. As she tumbled backwards, as he reached out and grabbed onto her clothing, as he flipped her over his shoulder and slammed her on the ground. As Naruto looked down at her, she sent her spear upwards to tear through his skull, but he flipped away. She picked up herself and dusted off her jacket. How have I not broken his spear yet? Hearing her, Naruto spoke. What is that thing made of anyway? I'm sure if I wasn't pumping chakra into the blade, it would have chipped by now. Okoi narrowed her eyes. Do you really think I'll tell you that, outsider? Well, most people do. It's a mix of my charm and their stupidity to get them to blab about what makes them tick. Well, I can assure you, outsider, I find you extremely lacking in the charm department. As she twirled her spear around and thrust it into the ground. And I'm definitely not stupid, she said. Alright then, Naruto said. And out of nowhere he threw his sword as it was crackling with lightning. She quickly pulled her spear. But as soon as her spear made contact with the blade, a violent bolt of electricity went through her body, paralyzing her. As she didn't even see him coming, as he appeared in front of her as a fist slammed in her face. Blood and splitters spraying from her mouth. She was too focused and out-focused to notice the uppercut coming under her jaw, sending her up in the air as Naruto appeared above her and drive down an ox kick as she smashed into the ground. Meanwhile, Ileana dealt with the other two, as she was now dealing with the last one called Baya, as Ileana wielded a sword that she thought to herself. Are you some sort of witch? Baya asked, after seeing Ileana going through those strange portals. The correct term is sorcerer, but pretty much, said Ileana. Come then, witch. My general will be most angry that I took so long to defeat someone like you. I told you I'm a... You know what? Screw you. Call me whatever you want, you bitch. Baya narrowed her eyes dangerously as she dashed forward her spear to impale the woman in front of her. Ileana raised her hand up and summoned a portal between her and Baya, more specifically, the spear. As she was moving too fast, she was unable to stop herself as her spear entered the disc halfway. Ileana closed the disc as it cut off what didn't make it inside. Opening up another portal, she grabbed the spear as it came out. She looked down as she opened another portal as she thrust the spear down. As another portal opened up right over Baya's foot as the spear came out, driving downwards. As Baya screamed out in pain. As Ileana opened a portal right in front of her face, as one opened right in front of Baya's face, as Ileana threw the hardest punch she could. As a fist came out, knocking Baya out. Meanwhile, Naruto was watching Ileana's fight as he smiled, as he saw the clever way she used her abilities. As Naruto simply ducked under Okoi's electrified spear. Despite the fact that you have yet to hit me, you're actually very skilled. Okoi, with sweat coming across her face. So are you, she said. I am one of Wakanda's greatest warriors. And never have I faced someone with such skill. It is unnatural, unhuman. What are you, she asked. I will tell you what I am if you tell me what your clothes are made of, Naruto said. as he already sent away his sword as he was just holding a kunai. I will never betray my country's secrets, Okoi said. You're a good soldier then, Naruto said, though I have to question how great your country is if they reacted this way, with every guy asking a couple of questions. There has never been anyone like you asking these questions. A man with gifts such as yourself is dangerous to our country. Precautions had to be made to continue its safety, Okoi said, using the conversation to catch her breath. This place acts like a hidden village back home, Naruto thought. These girls must be their unfus or something. No, isn't the time to make comparisons, brat, said Kurama. She's stalling. More than likely she called for backup after your friend over there took out her partners. Naruto scoffed. Don't you think I figured that out already? I can never be sure with you, dumbass, Kurama mumbled. Naruto sighed as he turned towards Okoi. Sorry, our little game has to come to an end. I let you take your shots on me because I want to see how magic will do on her own. Now that I see she can handle herself, I don't really have any reason to keep this up. As Okoi's face became twisted in anger. How dare you, but she couldn't get finished that sentence. As Naruto appeared behind her, grabbing her in a sleeper hold and using one arm to grab the spear. As he grabbed her and held her tight, as she tried everything to get away, jabbing with her arms, but she could not. As she then went limp in his arms. He then picked her up and placed her over his shoulder. As he walked over to Ileana, who was sitting down. You ready? He asked. Still catching her breath from using her power so much, she gave a thumbs up. Ready as I'll ever be, she said. What about them? She asked. We only need a general, Naruto said. Anything they know, she would know. And more. Grab on, I'll get us out of here. Right, she said as she placed her hand on his shoulder. With a flicker, the three of them were gone. Moments later. You sure we're good here? Ileana asked, looking around the rundown warehouse they find themselves in. Naruto nodded, as he created two chairs that faced each other. My clone found this place. While he was exploring, I got a gang of clones checking the area. We can just go somewhere else if we get found out. As he placed Okoi on the chair, as he molded chakra into it, so a few binds came up and kept her in place. He took the seat in front of her, as he then took a calming breath. Magic, he said. Why are you calling me that? Ileana asked. That's your stage name, right? Naruto said. Well, now it's your superhero name. Congrats. A smile spread across her face. My superhero name? She said. Yeah, can I continue now? He said, as she nodded. This move takes a lot of concentration, so I'm gonna need you to be as quiet as possible, understood? Yes, she said. Naruto took another deep breath. Ninja art. Psychic mind invasion. As Naruto went through hand signs, as his hand was covered in the fiery chakra, as he placed it on Okoi's head. Ileana watched as nothing happened, as Naruto's eyes were closed, as she saw Naruto's face twitch a few times, but other than that, nothing. That is until Naruto's eyes swung open, as he was gasping for air, as blood was coming from his nose. As he grasped his head, as he rested his hand against his nose to stop the bleeding. Ileana rushed to his side. Naruto, are you alright? I'm fine, it's just a headache, Naruto said. God, now I have way more respect for Ino's dad. That move is ridiculous. What happened? Asked Magic. What did you do? Naruto got up as he wiped the remaining blood off his face. I read her mind. Ileana blinked. Whoa, did you get anything? Naruto chuckled. Yeah, I got a bit. This whole place is a sham. What do you mean? Asked Ileana. Wakanda, the whole goddamn country is a sham. Half of their cities are a smoke screen, created to convince the world that they are a little country with weak resources. But they're not at all. They have the greatest metal around, and they are probably the most technologically advanced country on the planet. And instead of using that technology to help the world around them, they simply keep it for themselves. He chuckled, but there was no humor in his voice, and they sent people like Okoi, here to take care of anyone that comes close to the truth. That's terrible, said Ileana. Naruto shrugged. They believe it better for everyone if they keep it themselves. And I can see their point, he said. How? Said Ileana. If they're really this advanced, think of all the people they could help. And think of all of the destruction will happen once people got their hands on it. I've seen wars that use similar weapons to what Wakandas are using, and it's not pretty. You share vibranium with everyone, you're asking for another world war. And this will have more weapons, more destructive advanced weapons. It would be terrible. Looking towards Okoi, Ileana signed defeat. Well, what do we do with her? Drop her off in the city. I need to come up with a plan. Plan for what? Asked Ileana. I need to learn more before I go and talk to King. T'Chaka. I need a different perspective. Whose? Asked Ileana. Panthers, I think. Ileana blinked. What? Never mind, Naruto said. Time skip. The sound of knocking echoed through the room, as the knocking was calm until no one answered. And then it get louder as no one was coming to the door. Jessica grabbed the hand and threw the door open. What? She said, as Tony was standing at the door. As he waved hello. I'm looking for the kid, he said. The kid? What kids? There aren't any kids here. Raising her eyebrow, she wondered, why are you looking for a kid? Realizing what she was hinting at, Tony sighed, I'm looking for Naruto. Who? Said Jessica. I know he's here, so you can drop the dough ice. He looked past her. Naruto, it's me. Tell your girlfriend to let me in. We need to talk. An offended look crossed Jessica's face. Girlfriend? Tony, Naruto called out. Tony made to make his way in, but she stretched her arm out, blocking him from coming inside. Hey kid, you gonna call Videl, Satan, off over here, or what? Never watched Dragon Balls. I was too busy having friends, Jessica said. Tony raised an eyebrow. Yet you know who Videl was. I guess those friends were imaginary. Naruto cut off Jessica's retort as he placed a arm on her hand and forced it down. He's a friend. You don't mind him coming in for a couple minutes, right? She looked at the both of them. Fine, you can talk. She grabbed Naruto by the back of his neck as she pushed him outside. Do it outside, she said, as she slammed the door in his face. Naruto rubbed the back of his neck. She's mean sometimes, he said. A real troublesome woman, said Tony, as he looked at the door. Investigations? She needs a better sign, and this whole apartment is run down. It can't be good for business. She ever think about installing some frosted glass? Maybe some golden fawn? Why are you here, Tony? Naruto asked. Tony pulled out a phone. Here, it's her new phone. It has all the contacts of everyone on the team, including Hill. As Naruto looked at the phone, it's not a Yuta, but it will do. A what? Tony asked. Never mind, Naruto said. Don't worry about it. Is that all? No, there is more, Tony said. The Secretary of State wants to have a bow wow with you. I volunteer myself and Rogers to be your chaperone. So don't worry about them trying to stonewall you. That is, if you even agree to it. They have no say over you, so it's really not a lot they can... Sure, whatever, Naruto said. Tony blinked. Excuse me? Yeah, I don't really care. I'm sure the boss would want to do it eventually. The boss? You're a clone, aren't you? Tony said. Sure am, said the clone. Fine, just make sure you get with the boss, and have him get with me and Rogers. Yeah, I can't really promise that he will get back to you quick. Why? What is he doing? Well... Meanwhile, so this is him, the king asks. Okoi, with a deep scowl on her face, looked down at the screen, as Naruto was there, as he was wearing a red leather jacket with brown pants. As T'Chaka looked at the man, I am ashamed to say that he bested me in combat, my king. Okoi said, avoiding eye contact with her king. I have never fought anyone like him before. It's like he isn't even human. T'Chaka sighed as he played the video of the outsider fighting his general. Perhaps not even my uncle, who was the strongest of all previous Black Panthers, could do anything like this. No, this man is something else entirely. He looked towards the woman. Can you remember anything after your encounter? I'm sorry, my king, but after that fight I woke up in front of the Capitol building. I don't know what happened in between, she said, as she was clearly annoyed that she didn't know what he did after their fight. The king hummed to himself. More than likely they took you to extract information. Either they did it somehow while keeping you unconscious, or they wiped the memory entirely. Neither of those are good for us. What do we do then, my king? If he somehow managed to get Wakanda's secrets from me, this will be disastrous, said Okoi. T'Chaka sighed after a moment of thought. Send out a message to all of our war dogs and Dora Milaje searching for this Naruto Uzumaki. Tell them not to engage and to inform that I seek an audience with him. He has proven too troublesome to kill, so now we must look for a more peaceful resolution. And if he refuses, she asks. He won't. If his words are true, he's only curious. If the opportunity to speak to me comes, he would not refuse. It will be his chance to get answers after all, the king said. I too find myself curious to what his intentions are. And what better way than to speak to him face to face? And if he planned to assassinate you, Otto asks, as she was clearly not a fan of this plan. The man kept you alive, General, when he had every opportunity to kill you. If he wanted to kill us off, he would have a head count by now. And if he were to kill me, he would have the entire military force of Wakanda crawling for his life for the rest of his days, as Okoye could only nod. Meanwhile, Naruto yawned as he sat on a rooftop. Night had come several hours ago. Does this guy ever take a break? He's been watching over this place for days. The only time he took a break is when he went to bed, and even then he had several security systems throughout the building watching for everyone while he rested. Ileana thought of the urge to not yawn herself. Can we call this off then? I don't think this Panther guy is going to give you the opportunity to use your mind reading thing on him. You barely get away with using your clones to transform into objects and place inside the building. One of these times, someone's gonna notice a bird poofing into smoke. Naruto rolled his eyes. I'm not stupid. These clones don't pop into smoke. 1 second they're there, the next second they're not. They just take a bit more concentration to make. So that is why I don't use them in battle. And don't get me wrong, I love to end this now. In all honesty, I could just barge in there and get it over with. But I've already made enough commotion in this country already. If I keep it up, they're gonna put me on a list or something. Really, there's a lot of ways I could go about it, he thought. I could transform into one of the people that work there, and as long as you're touching me, I could transform you as well. But he's always out in the open or in his room, and waiting for him to go to the bathroom. That is where I draw the line to interrupt him. That happened to me once, and trust me, it sucks. Look, obviously, we hit a roadblock. Why don't we give up for the night and brainstorm in the morning? We got a hotel for a reason. I say we use it, Ileana said. You go ahead, I'm gonna stay a little longer. As he heard this portal open and close. As Naruto sit there, waiting for the next wave of memories to come. Know that the woman is gone. When do you plan on going in there, Kurama grumbled. Clearly just woken up. Your window of opportunity is coming up. Naruto shrugged. Well, now I don't really have a choice in the matter. These guys are forcing my hand. Looking around, he frowned as he spotted several people stalking around the building, as they just loitered around, as their bulky clothes showed that they were packing submachine and rifles. And the few days he has been here, he never see a person use a gun from Wakanda, so they're not Wakandans. That and a clone just tell me that several armored guards are coming this way. I say we got a few minutes before this place is swarmed with fighting. So that means you either go in now while it's quiet, or use the chaos to get to your target. Naruto shrugged. I am more than sure they can fend off a regular squads of goon. Their clothes are armored and their weapon and tank outgun Tony by a mile. They're more than tough enough, they don't need my help. I'm just gonna sneak in and get out as soon as possible, maybe save some people if I have to. Not very hero-like, Kurama said. Let me guess, you're gonna stick around and fend off the attack. You know me so well, Naruto said. That makes getting out as soon as possible a bit of a stretch then. I am sure I can make it work, Kurama, Naruto said, waving off his partner. Kurama scoffed, and what about your new teammate? Are you really going to leave her to fend for herself? You saw her, Naruto said, or heard her. She was about to pass out on the roof. I'm not gonna leave her to get caught up in the middle of this. The hotel we got's across town, so even if the fight wake her up, she'll probably stay out of it, Naruto said. Now, the show is about to start, as he saw one of the men talking into a radio. And if she decided to join in the fighting, the way she spoke, she's not ready to take a life. She's not ready for this kind of I'll protect her, Kurama, Naruto said. I have half a dozen clones looking out for her. I'm not gonna let anything happen to her. She's my comrade. I'm not going to fail my comrades ever again. Now either focus on the upcoming fight or shut up. Kurama sighed. Fine, but just so you know, it's not the woman that worries me. It's you, should anything happen to her. You tend to spiral, Naruto, and you barely made it out of it last time. That's the last I'll say about it. Let's go then, he said. Naruto closed his eyes as he started to gather nature energy into his body. He opened his eyes as Sage Mode was activated. Let's go, he said, as he jumped off the building. As the soldiers surrounding the building stormed in. Meanwhile, Shuri was in the lab with Mbaba, as she was working on something when the wall beside her exploded as gunfire started to release all over the room. As she went down and clutched her head, but she felt no pain. She opened her eyes as she saw Mbaba fall over. She rushed towards him as blood started to leak all over him as he started to cough up blood. How, he said. She was also shot that bullet could pierce his vibranium clothes. But before she could do anything, she was grabbed by the shirt. No, no, she said as she tried to reach for him. She tried to fight for freedom, but something hit her in the back of her head as she felt dizzy. Don't kill her. He wants her alive, a voice said. What about the other one? The man that hit her called out. Kill him. He's of no consequence. As Shuri's vision started to clear. What? As she knew that voice, as Tishan stepped into the lab. Hello, princess, he said. What? What's going on, Tishan, she said. I'm sorry, Shuri. I truly am. But I'm gonna need you to leave with us. Us? Them, she said. Yes, them, said Tishan. The easier you make it, the less likely they will be forced to hurt you. They've been ordered to bring you in alive and for the most part unharmed. But if you make their job harder than they should, what are you doing? What are you doing with them? She screamed out. Well, they wouldn't have been able to get in the city unprotected. And they wouldn't have been armed with bullets that could pierce through your armor and get you without me. He walked up to Mbaba, who was silent and bleeding out next to them. I am sorry, my friend. I hope that you would have been spared out of everyone here. Mbaba could only grunt out. You can't. Tishan slowly sighed. As he got up, I already have. He then looked towards the man who was holding Shuri. I suggest you get out of here. The prince will be here soon. Once he realized that she isn't in her room, the man nodded, dragging Shuri away. Meanwhile, T'Challa kicked down the door of Shuri's room. Shuri, he said as he had on his helmet. His search was cut short as 3 men barged into the room. He eyed them for a second as they were heavily armed. As he quickly withdrew his claws, the trio tried to raise their guns and open fire on him. But they weren't able to, as he sliced through the first one gun and slammed a foot in his chest as the man hit the wall with so much force. He then jumped and delivered a brutal kick to the other one. The other one raised his gun, but he sliced through it as he slipped past the man and went around him and delivered a brutal kick to his back as the man smashed into the ground. T'Challa then looked over at the man that was on the ground. Who are you? He asked. What are you doing here? As he brought the claws towards the man's neck. We're here for the princess. T'Challa grabbed the man by the throat and slammed him through the door. As he walked out, the moment he did, he saw dozens of military men with their guns. As all of them started to rain bullets on him, but he simply stood there as it bounced off his armor. They tried to reload, but he dashed forward as he started to attack all of them, beating them down in brutal manner. As he dealt with them rather quickly and made his way to the stairs, as he quickly rushed down, running from floor to floor until he made his way to the bottom. As he thrust open the door as he entered the main laboratory, Shuri, he called out as he entered the room, looking around. He saw the large hole in the wall with the body lying on the ground. Mbaba, he yelled as he sprinted down to the man. Mbaba, what happened? T'Challa, the man said. Yes, it's me, Mbaba, he said, as he looked over the man, as he saw the gaping bullet wound in his chest. What happened here? He said. It's Shuri, Mbaba said. What about Shuri? Where is he? They took her. They took her. Who took her? Tishan. Tishan? said T'Challa. Tishan took her? No, behind you. As T'Challa turned to see Tishan standing in the hallway with a calm look on his face. As T'Challa stood up, where is she? As he flexed his claws. Know why? Usually in a moment like this, the hero asks the villain to explain himself. But guys, be ending this episode right here. If you see the next part of this, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn that bell notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But I'm all for now, guys. Peace.